We're going to the moon. You know it, folks. Welcome to the show. I've got David Smith, local investor from Raleigh, North Carolina. He will join us in just a second. But first, I've got to let you know what we're doing. He won't get on the BNGO train like all of you. We all want a piece of it. Why won't he get on it? We'll find out in just a second. Plus, we'll get high on the moon. If we're going to be up there, we might as well get stoned. I'll tell you about the weed stocks that you should look into this week. And of course, we've got a resource of the week for you, something to get you a little bit sized about how you're going to make your next million. It's all coming up right here on Moonshots, starting with David Smith, local investor. He's in North Carolina, and he crushed his portfolio last year, so I'm just going to get right into it. Dude, what did you do that worked so well that got you those gains?
In general, overall, my investment philosophy is just following trends, right? So this year, the market tanked. Obviously, that was a major trend, and I happened to kind of sell off a lot of stuff when that started to happen, not at the exact top, but in general, obviously seeing the whole world going to hell, sold off a bunch of stock, and that proved to be a good choice. And then kind of towards the bottom, jumped into the airline industry, mainly with the thought that, I'm reasonably young in my 30s, so I have tons of years on my investment horizon, and airlines are too big to fail. So if I jump in now, 5 years, these things are definitely going to be back to where they were prior to the pandemic.
So you're more of a long investor. You're not a shorter at all.
Well, I mean, I'm definitely into short, and things changed over the course of this year because, airlines jumped super quickly, and that got me really excited, and realized the types of gains that you can get when you are into kind of quick trends that can happen. So the airlines gained a ton. I bailed on those and then started to kind of follow some other things that were going on in the marketplace.
Well, I want to know what you like in the future. We'll do that in just a second. But first of all, you're not on the BNGO train. Everybody is driving this train. It seems to have left the station. So why aren't you getting on? I was here. If you don't know, I was on this at about $1.60, and then it shot up to $7. Everybody knows all the facts on it. They just had their offering last week. There's a lot of reasons why you should, but why won't you hop on this with me? It's driving me nuts, man.
Yeah, you have been telling me about this for a while. I definitely should have jumped on, but I'm into a few others right now that I can't get off of, namely one of which is Northwest Bio, NWBO. So it's a brain cancer, bio stock, and we're waiting data any minute, and that thing's going to it is going to multiply by 10 at least.
What does that mean that you're waiting for data? Look, for everybody full disclosure, David got me into investing. He's the reason that I'm here, and I got jumped all in the Northwestern Bio. I got all over it. NWBO, there's tons of potential there. And we sat there, and we've been sitting there waiting for the data. Where is it? What's going on, man?
I do not know. I mean, my best guess is that the company is going to get bought out, and they're in a quiet period right now. So they locked data on this 15-year trial that they have maybe 3 months ago or so, and everybody is just waiting for the data to come out. But any day now it's going to happen, and I can't sell my stock because I feel like as soon as I do, they're going to come out with the data. It's going to go to, from 1 billion to 30 billion people are talking about, and I'm not getting out.
But this is what I was trying to tell him. I said, listen, I got out of NWBO because it's sitting there and it's not going anywhere. And what I just witnessed with BNGO last week is that even if I missed the initial run, if I wasn't in at 58 cents and I hopped in at $1.50 or then $2, it's still shot up to $7. And after doing a full week of research and really looking into their financials and everything, I feel good long-term about them, that they're going at least to 15 to 20, at least over the year. That's my target for them over the year. I'm hoping for 30, but if they get to 15 to 20, I'm pumped. And if I got in at 4, I'm not going to kill myself because I wasn't in at 50 cents. Now, I know that sounds conservative, but I try not to be a greedy trader. So I'm trying to get him to sell some of his shares of NWBO and get in on the BNGO train now. It's going to soar to the moon this week, and that's because there's a symposium coming up. All of you know that. But the offering just came out. They withheld that within the first, pre-market, within the first couple hours of the day. They absorbed all of the shares. Totally fine. The price creeped up and back and then just crushed after hours. So now everyone's waiting for Monday morning. I know you all bought your bottles of champagne just like I did. But what I'm seeing happen to BNGO is what I know David's waiting for happening to Northwest Bio. And you're just not willing to give up a penny of that because you know that one's going to the moon.
Absolutely. And I know it's going to happen the day that I sell my shares. If I sell my shares. So I'm
Typically how it
100%
works.
not doing
All right. Well, what do you like? Well, let's get a little bit stoned. Let's do this. I want to get stoned. We'll talk a little bit, one more about BNGO on the way out. But I want to hang out with you guys on the moon, like we do, and talk weed stocks for just a minute or 90 seconds. What do you like in that sector, my friend?
I mean, I love anything right now, just given what happened in the U.S. elections and the Senate runoffs. The blue wave. There'll definitely be banking legislation that will increase any U.S. weed stock for sure. So, I mean, you can take a safe bet if you want and bet the MSO. It's an index fund of U.S. weed stocks and just gets you a little bit of everything. The ones I love in particular are Air Strategies, just AYRWF. And then Trulieve, I still love, even though it's more than doubled in the last 3 months. I still think it's got tons of potential. They own half of Florida.
Can you explain why, if you're buying weed in Florida, you're buying it from Trulieve? And what's their ticker? What's their ticker?
It's TCNNF in the US. They have so many stores. I think they have like 50 or 60 stores in Florida, and it's all their branded stuff. They literally have over half the market share in Florida, and it's a huge medical market. You know how many old people are down there. I mean, it's just going to be an enormous medical market, and it's supposed to continue to grow a ton. So, I mean, that one's going to blast off for sure. But literally anything in the U.S. Acreage is another one, because they're going to, as soon as weed is legalized, they're going to get bought out by Canopy. So
what's their ticker?
Acreage is ACHRF, I think. And then Canopy is CGC. And that's like the big Canadian one that as soon as it's legalized in the US, they're just going to come buy everybody up and start owning shit.
Well, before we get everybody out of here, why is legalization of marijuana in the U.S. maybe not the best thing for U.S. weed companies?
Because tons of big Canadian companies or just big multinational companies in general are going to wait for federal legalization before they enter the U.S. market, like Canopy Growth, for example. So they're in Canada, they're billions, billion-dollar company, multi-billion-dollar company, but they're not going to enter the market because they're afraid they're going to get, charged with federal crimes until it's legal. So it being illegal actually helps protect, it's a barrier to entry for the U.S. companies.
So once they legalize it, basically all the big Canadian companies are just going to come in and swoop up and take over all these little
big tobacco, big alcohol companies, all of these giant brand building kinds of companies are going to come in and just set up shop. And they have relationships with the Walmarts and the Targets and all these retailers. And when you're buying it from there, the little guys are going to start to, but they'll probably end up just getting acquired by these guys anyway.
So you're saying go to the Canadian weed companies and you're going to the moon. Let's do this thing. I got to get these people out of here. So what do you like next week, coming up this coming week? What is on your radar?
Any shroom stocks, MindMed in particular, MMEDF. They're starting a shroom index fund, and basically they're going to start by just buying up a shit ton of shares from all these different shroom companies. So there's literally going to be a huge purchasing of shares next week of major shroom companies. MindMed and Compass are the two biggest.
There it is. You heard it. You heard it here, folks. Excuse me. Let's go take a trip to the moon. I guess next week is what we're going to be doing. Instead of getting high on the moon, you can check the weed stocks, but apparently the shroom sector is going off. He's been talking about that like I've been screaming about BNGO. So just be prepared for that, right? You just feel real good about the shroom sector.
MindMed has already gone from 30 cents to it hit $5 last month, and now it's back down to like $3, but it's going back up. They're waiting for a NASDAQ listing. Like, they're legit.
What else do you need to hear, folks? It's all right there. So I want to get you guys out of here on a tip of the week, and that tip is to have a plan. And I got that from our resource of the week, which is right here in the description below. I want you to click on that and just watch this 45-minute video. It's awesome. David, I don't think you've seen this. Have you heard of Alex Temiz?
No, I have not, and I have not seen the video.
Let me just read you the clickbait, but I'll tell you it's 100,000 times worth watching this video. And again, the link is in the description. 25-year-old millionaire stock trader Alex Temiz question and answer at SMB Capital prop firm in New York City from 2019. This dude is like 25. He talks about stories from when he's 23. He just cracks a beer open and answers questions to S&P in New York City around a big round table for almost an hour. And I know there are plenty of those where you're like, yeah, that's just, it's never going to be me. He makes you realize what it takes to get there. And his number one thing that he hammers home is that he never saw success until he started having a plan. So I want you guys to watch that and make sure you keep an eye out on that, because you can't just go in there willy-nilly and just say, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to shrooms, let's do it. We might go to the moon, but you also might just crap out, and we don't want you to do that here, because you want to trade smart, you want to trade happy. So we'll see you next Sunday, where we grade our insight and accuracy from this video. So make sure you tune in there. We'll grade ourselves, and of course we'll peel back the curtain and let you in on our tips for the upcoming week as well. So just strap it on, folks. We are going to the moon. It's Moonshots from TTR Studios. For David Smith in Raleigh, North Carolina, make sure you guys subscribe now for a chance to win our early adopter prize. So if you get in now before our first 3,000, we're almost there. So hop in there, subscribe, and don't forget to do your homework by watching the resource below. But if you get in before 3,000, you got a chance to win our early adopter prize. I hope it's you. We'll see you on Sunday next week when we all go to the moon together. Good luck on BNGO. I hope you get it.